And hello, everyone. We are live. So let's check out the audio and make sure you can hear me and we're good to go. All right. So welcome to Friday. Happy Friday. Today is Friday, September 19th, 2025, for those of you live. And if you're on the replay, hey, who knows? But please do join the comment section down below if you happen to be on the replay. And if you're live watching, come on and get in this chat and say hello to everybody. We got really nice mods, community members, and even lurkers. I ain't going to lie. So please do join. We have an interesting show tonight. Um, there's a lot to talk about, and we'll be getting into some things revolving around Delphi, of course, on our Friday night. And I'm glad to see everybody here. Um, Before I get started, I want to let everybody know that I have a GoFundMe going. Okay, so this GoFundMe is oh, here it is. I'm trying to paste it into the chat. There we go. So I'm going to pin it at the top of the chat so everyone can go check it out. Please check out the GoFundMe if you want to support this live stream. I do appreciate it. So welcome on in, everybody. You see the chat here running, so everybody can keep up with the chat, even if you're not in the chat. And I'm glad to see everybody. So, with that being said, welcome to Friday. Wow. So there's been a little news this week, not too much, uh, but just some things. And we'll cover a little bit now. And then later in the next show, we'll do some more looking at some things. Okay. But the first thing I wanted to talk about is what's been all the rage lately, which is the fact, oddly enough, that the appellate attorneys for Richard Allen in the Delphi murders case are begging for exhibits that they should not have to be begging for. It's absolutely ridiculous. All of you know that. And wow, it's just inconceivable, the things that go on in this case. Nothing is ever right. And I mean, ever. And all of you follow the Delphi murders know that. And those of you who have followed the trial of Richard Allen, you also know that about Richard Allen. And things are just never the way they should be. And so tonight we're going to take a close look at that in the introduction here as we get oriented. And then we're going to go into the Roblox swatting. Okay, we're going to be talking about that. Um, so I want to welcome everyone who's here. God bless. Good to see you. Um, we'll probably keep it kind of short tonight and let everyone get some rest. But I'm glad to see everybody. And so let's take a look at what's going on here with the appellate attorneys and the court, because it's absolutely mind-boggling. Now, I'll remind you that this court wrapped up, or this trial wrapped up last year, right? Almost a year ago. Almost a year ago. Then there was the sentencing, and you guys all remember the insane post-sentencing press conference. Okay, we covered that recently. And then very early this year, the appellate attorneys were assigned to Richard Allen. Okay, so basically at the beginning of the year, maybe someone in the chat can drop the actual date that these appellate attorneys were assigned. But the appellate attorneys came on, and then as we all know, March 11th, they filed the notice of appeal. Okay, March 11th. I'd like to remind you today is September 19th. So now, more than 6 months later, these appellate attorneys are still so more than 6 months after the filing of the notice of appeal, and I guess about 9 months after being assigned, they are still begging the court to cooperate. So the question kind of falls upon who's to blame for that. And the way that I look at it, there's only three options. Option number one, the court. Option number two, Andrew Baldwin. Option number three, Michael Osbrook. So the real question to me is who the hell is responsible for these exhibits not being appropriately handled such that they would already be in the appellate attorney's hands? It's just a real conundrum, as usual, for Delphi. But geez, so let's take a little look at some of this. And I'm sure you've seen this all over. Everyone's making a huge noise about it. I think they're making a noise about things that don't really matter, okay? Because to me, what really matters is that the appellate attorneys don't have it and someone is responsible for that. And secondarily, there's another caveat here, which is that what they are asking for is an extra 30 days from the time they actually do receive all that they're entitled to receive, which would push back this filing of an appellate brief even further. So there's just so much just absolute insanity around this, but we'll be talking about that. Okay. So I want to say thank you, ACV, for the super chat. Let me put that up here. Hey, thank you, ACV, for the super chat and the wonderful comments, as always, in the comment sections. And as you know, I don't always get to them immediately, but eventually I get to your comments. So I will be catching up with you, ACV. But thank you very much for supporting. And everyone, please take notice. Like I said, we have the GoFundMe here. We're doing a fundraiser with the GoFundMe, and it's pinned at the top of the chat. And there's also other pathways if you'd like to generally support the channel. Let's take a look at this motion here. This is a verified motion to compel transmission of exhibits and new due date. Okay. Oh, wow. Let's see. I'm going to do my best to handle this appropriately. Okay. And we need to go to here and here. Okay, this says verified motion to compel transmission of exhibits and new due date. And as you can see, this is on the 17th, which was just 2 days ago, wherein the appellate attorneys requested the court to issue an order to the clerk's office to transmit evidence submitted. Okay. And the most important thing to keep in mind as you think about this is what's being asked for are the exhibits that should be attached to the motion for Frank's hearing, which is from 9/18/2023. Now think about it. That's 2 entire years ago. 2 entire years ago. Okay. And also for the motion to correct error, which was in January, which puts us at 9 months ago. So we're dealing with evidence from 9 months ago and 2 years ago. Okay. And like I said, the notice of appeal was filed on March 11th of this year, which puts us 6 months ago. And the appellate attorneys were assigned in January. So that puts us 9 months ago. So we're really playing with fire here. Okay. So let's take a look. It says on October 28, 2022, the state charged Allen 2 counts of felony murder by kidnapping. On March 22nd, 2024, the trial court granted the state's request to amend the charge, adding 2 counts of murder. And you'll all realize now that the 2 felony kidnapping or felony murder by kidnapping were dropped. and that Rick Allen was left with the 2 counts of murder. Number 2 here states on August 18th, 2023, Allen filed a motion for Frank's hearing, seeking to suppress evidence obtained pursuant to a warrant search of his home. Allen submitted several exhibits in support of that motion, including 126 documents and media exhibits and 7 depositions, which were tendered to the trial court in binders. These exhibits and depositions were identified in a list that Allen attached to his motion. This list is attached to this motion to compel as attachment 1. Now, on November 11th, now let me turn the page. Okay. On November 11th, 2024, following a 25-day trial by jury, Allen was found guilty of 2 counts of murder. On December 20th, 2024, the trial court entered an order sentencing Allen to an aggregate term of 130 years. On January 20th, 2024, well, this should say 2025. This is an error here. Okay, on January 20th, 2025, Allen filed a motion to correct errors. In support of this motion, Allen filed 2 flash drives with evidence and media exhibits. Okay. Number 6, the court denied the motion without a hearing on February 14th, 2025. Now that's interesting, right? Remember that. And remember the damning evidence in that motion to correct error? The court denied that in a blanket fashion without a hearing on February 14th, 2025. And a notice of completion of transcripts was filed on July 7th, 2025. The exhibits identified in attachment 1 and the flash drives identified in attachment 2 were not included in the transcript filed with the court. Allen cannot adequately file a brief without review of these exhibits. Now listen, that number 9, that's your most compelling argument there. And that's what everyone needs to really be concerned about in what's going on with these games with the court. That Allen cannot adequately file a brief without review, an appellate brief without review of these exhibits. And as I mentioned, number 10, Allen requests that he be given, or these attorneys request that they be given 30 days from the date on which the docket shows the exhibits are received by the clerk's office in which to file his brief of appellate. So, and you'll see, let me bring this back up here. Let's see. Oh my. You'll see here that this page 2 or 3 has signatures, okay? So there's a lot, okay? There's a lot. There's a lot of discussion that could be had about this that is not being had at the moment. The discussions that I see being had are pretty cursory and almost distracting. And I don't want anyone to be distracted. Like this is an epidemic in this community is distraction. Okay, there's always distraction around important issues to divert your attention away from what matters. And I said there are questions that can be answered here, but let's continue to look at some things. So let's look at this. Now you see this is a list here. It's very important, I think, to go through this very specifically. This is the list of exhibits. Now keep in mind here, we're talking about 126 exhibits plus I think 7 depositions. Okay, 126 exhibits and 7 depositions. So check this out. We'll go through these step by step. Okay. Let's take a look. Number 1 is your Todd Click letter to Nick McClellan. Okay, certified mail receipt. This receipt will confirm the date it was received, okay, from Todd Click. Then there's a Todd Click affidavit, the Todd Click letter to McClelland, okay? And remember what that letter is. The Todd Click summary attached to the McClelland letter, all right? And then you have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Okay, that's 11 crime scene and autopsy photos. Okay, 11 crime scene and autopsy photos. Number 17, DNA documentation. Okay. Then number 18, 19, and 20 are photos of the tree with the marking in blood. Okay. The tree that has the marking in blood, in Libby's blood. 3 photos of that. And these are not the photos we've seen. Okay. They're also asking for some other crime scene photos. For instance, the photo of the shoe under Abby's leg. They're asking for the photo of the cell phone under the shoe, under Abby's leg. They're also asking for 3 photos of the bullet. Okay, photo of the bullet in ground 1, 2, and 3. Now, I thought this next one was very interesting. Now, think about this, that they're asking for this is very interesting. The graph showing the depth of Deer Creek. Now, that's on number 26 here. The graph showing the depth of Deer Creek, and I would assume their meaning is during those 2 days, or possibly just the 13th of February 2017, but possibly the maybe even the whole month. I don't know where they're getting the graph from, how it displays, whether it's in 30-day increments and 7-day or just in the 1 day, but they're wanting to know the depth of Deer Creek in graph format, okay? They're also asking for Tony Liggett's autopsy notes. Yeah. Another confidential photo from the crime scene, the yellow rope tied to tree. Question. Who knew that there was a yellow rope tied to a tree? I didn't know it was tied to the tree. I knew there was a rope. Okay, 29 is pretty ambiguously labeled as infographic. All right, and then number 30 and 31, from an Odinism website, they're wanting to see the man hanging upside down from tree and the man wearing antlers. 2 photos from a website on Odinism. They're also asking for 3 photos from Brad Holder's paintings. Brad Holder tree painting with Facebook info. All right. A close-up of the Brad Holder tree painting. And the Brad Holder tree painting world tree. All right. And now number 35 they're asking for on this list is Daniel Bray's sacrifice and sacrificial ideology in Old Norse religion. And here we're coming next is the next is an item that has been leaked. That's right, leaked by the Mean Girls. Number 36, the Odin Report, 12 pages. Okay. That has been leaked out here in the world, but they're asking for that Odin Report. Also, a confidential interview report number DIN C002503. Okay. And we'll be talking about that one later. '38, a photo of Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall on January 21st, 2017. A report labeled DINCOO2 561, Patrick Westphal interview, February 19th, 2017. A Google map of 726 North Charles Street to Delphi Cemetery. They want a Facebook post of Brad Holder's hand, number 41. Number 42, a side-by-side of Holder's hand and Abby at the crime scene. Remembering that the marking on the stick figuration on Abby's body matching the drawing on Holder's hand. There's also the Facebook post, Bodies in the Woods by Brad Holder, which you know that has also been leaked out here. Confidential side-by-side photo of Holder's Facebook post and Libby. I guess that would show, which I've shown you before, the big tree that's on Libby to hold her arm up in this manner. It's somewhat reminiscent of the tree that's on one of the girls in Brad Holder's photo, okay, from Facebook. And they're asking for another report, DINCOO0048. Okay. Now it's time to turn the page here. All right, here we go. Back at it. They'd like report number 17ISPC001748, Winters Boucher. Okay. Also, the Ryan Boucher affidavit. The email from Greg Ferenczi to Tony Liggett, December 12th, 2018. A video of the 2016 Odinism ceremony filmed by Brad Holder, which includes Patrick Westphal. The Brad Holder photo of the sticks forming an F, which we have from Facebook. They want the confidential side-by-side photo of sticks forming an F and the F in blood at the crime scene. The Brad Holder Goodfellas meme posted on Facebook on February 17th, 2017. You know, hide the bodies. A real friend will help you hide the bodies. They want the Brad Holder Facebook post from February 14th, 2017 at 2 a.m. when Brad Holder says, energy and testosterone is through the roof right now. All right. So you see what they're getting at here? This is all Frank's memo stuff. These are basically all your exhibits that were to be attached to the Frank's memo. And remember what I've said before, the Frank's memo dropped like a nuclear bomb on this community. You guys remember that? Do you recall how in September, when the Frank's memo dropped, the entire community blew up and it absolutely exploded? We had a death almost instantly. We had crime scene photo leaks. We had YouTubers getting 12 to 15 copyright strikes in a single day, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. The entire thing blew up, okay? Well, let's continue. I don't mean to get too off track. Oh, come on, Prof. Now we're going to go to number 54 here, which is a video of Elvis Field's interview on October 18th, 2018. Now, I didn't know that existed. But apparently there is a video of an Elvis Fields interview from October 18th, 2018. Now, I think that's going to be a pretty important video there. Okay, and I'll quickly blaze through these. These are side-by-sides. Okay, there's about 9 of them. They want to see Holder and Elvis photos of brass knuckles and other weapons. Holder and Elvis side-by-sides of a single arrowhead in hand. Holder and Elvis photos of 2 arrowheads. Holder and Elvis's photos of clear mason jar. Holder and Elvis photos of knives. Holder and Elvis photos of trees. Holder and Elvis photos of creeks. Holder and Elvis photos of stick crosses. And other Holder and Elvis photos. Now remember, Elvis Fields was literally mimicking Brad Holder's photos. Not just once, not just twice, not 3 times, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, but many, many times. Repeatedly, Elvis Fields was mimicking the things that it appeared that Brad Holder was doing, right? Right. And even more importantly here, report supplement number 542, interview of Joyce Moffett. And remember how important that is, because remember how important Elvis's sisters are to this entire thing. And remember that when the troll farm wanted to poo-poo this whole idea, some of which may have had validity and some of which may have had not, which you cannot dismiss, are the statements given by Elvis's sisters as to what he said to them and how he behaved with them. And keep in mind that Stephanie Thompson, the polygrapher, is now deceased. Okay. Next up. A confidential FBI report from April 13th, 2017. What a date. What a date. April 13th, 2017, confidential FBI report. Okay. Now we're moving on. Okay, next up, they're asking for Johnny Messer information. They want a PowerPoint, especially the piece where the ex-girlfriend, Taylor Hornady, is talking about the fact that Johnny attempted to recruit others, quote unquote, all the time. Okay. Now they're asking for number 68, Brad Holder's photo of a cross formed out of sticks on the ground. There's a PowerPoint labeled Dougie. There are 2 items for Teresa Liebert, which is a distance map and a sketch. They want photos of Elvis Fields with arrow pointing at him. They want 2 confidential exhibits. One is Brad Holder's FBI interview report from February 17th, 2017, which I didn't know existed. And they want Liggett's report from FBI interview of March 7th, 2017, no leads required. Okay. They're also asking for a whole handful of items, about 9 items from Brad Holder from Facebook. Okay. They want the photos of the tree, the creek, the sticks, the tree scenery, tree with marking, swastika, sticks with shadow, more sticks, another photo of sticks, another photo of sticks, and locations Hervey Preserve and Labyrinth. Right? This is a lot of stuff. They're also asking for a bunch of confidential reports from law enforcement. Okay. And we could go through them. We'll just go through them really quickly. It's DIN C003 034, CJIS C003 175, CJIS C003 669, CJIS 262. Report labeled intake CJIS 3225, intake CJIS 4466, and a report labeled thread 12253. And additionally, we're getting into top of page 3, another video of Elvis Fields. This is from an interview of June of 2018. A Johnny Messer interview of December 23rd, 2018. A confidential supplemental report number 523. another video of Elvis Fields being interviewed on February 27th, 2018. They want his sister's polygraph examination, which is Mary Jacobs. Okay. That's number 96. They want the Brad Holder Facebook photo, Heliung. They want a confidential photo from the crime scene, which is the close up on Abby's head showing quote unquote antlers. They want Patrick Westfall's Facebook photo of him cutting a tree limb. They're asking for 3 Rod Abrams videos. Not clear on what that is. Okay. Betsy. Okay. Let me stop there. Okay, I'm gonna stop there. So from this point going backwards, all that you've heard there, I think those are about 99 or 100, approximately 100 items there they're asking for are all related to the Franks memorandum. Okay. Remember, we've been wanting to see all that stuff since the day it was released. Okay. But somehow all of these ended up under seal. And if you go on backwards here, it's so obvious that's what's being asked for, right? It's the Johnny Messer, the Elvis Fields, the Brad Holder, the Patrick Westfall, the Rod Abrams, the uh, the sisters of Fields, and on and on and on. It's all of the pertinent information that should have been attached to the Franks memorandum. And I think had it been so my conspiracy theory is this: that was intentional to hide it from the media. Okay, so let me pull this down a minute so I can pontificate. I think that all of this here, the intention of hiding all of that or sealing it from the public prior to trial was to seal it from the media, because these people did not want all of these items accompanying the information in the text format from the Franks memorandum, because I believe that all of these exhibits would have made that theory that Baldwin laid out in the Franks memo very compelling. And if it had been accompanied by all of these exhibits or attachments, the media would have ran with it 10x. Okay, it would have been 10 times the noise and attention and maybe even believability had the media had access to lay eyes on all of this, put it into news reports, put it into articles on the in the various news outlets. These attachments accompanying this narrative information that Andrew Baldwin laid out in the Franks memorandum would have absolutely been explosive. If you see, if you think back, it wasn't quite explosive. It was somewhat a buzz in the news cycle, but very muted, because it the believability of it with people who are not accustomed to believing what actually happens in the world all the time, it was difficult. The cognitive dissonance was difficult. And I think that the media had a hard time believing it themselves, had a hard time thinking that they could really substantiate it to the public. But like I'm saying, let's circle back. My conspiracy theory is that this is indeed why it was sealed from public eyes, because had all of this at that juncture when it broke, had all of this been available to the public, it would have caused an insane stir. Okay. It would have caused an insane amount of media attention, because they would have had all of the exhibits or attachments they needed to make the narrative story that Andrew Baldwin was telling in text format in this 136 page Franks memo. It would have made it all so much more believable, comprehensible, and it would have carried, okay, across. So the media would have ran with it much more, which is exactly the reason it was not available, although it should have been. Okay, let's not kid ourselves here. This is a cover up of epic proportions, I repeatedly say. Okay, but let's circle on back to what we were looking at. All right, now we're back to this. Now we're moving on. Okay, so check it out. So from this point, we pretty much move on. Listen to this stuff. Now they're additionally asking for Betsy Blair's bullshit. Okay, Betsy Blair's. Betsy Blair's bullshit is her facial identification reference sheet. Sketch number 2, incident report number 17 0091 SO3. Okay. Additionally, they're asking for Sarah Carbaugh's bullshit. Sketch number 1, which, if you really recall correctly, over the years, they had also always said that that was a composite sketch taken from several witnesses and the video. But suddenly, it's all on Sarah Carbon, right? Number 107, they want Betsy Blair's interview from March 7th, 2019. They want the affidavit of search warrant. They want Doug Carter's press conference from 4/22/2019. That's a change of direction, folks. And remember what happened around the time of that change of direction. We're going to be going into it with Skip Jansen at some point in time. There was a huge amount of activity. Okay. There was activity regarding Garrett Kurtz. There was activity regarding the witnesses. And all of a sudden, you had the change of direction press conference. And remember the conflicts in that, because suddenly there was so much confusion, you know. And what really bothers me to this day is how there was so much confusion to the extent that the Indiana State Police had to issue a written clarification in which they stated the sketch of the old guy and the sketch of the young guy were not the same person, that the sketch of the old guy was no longer a person of interest, and that the sketch of the young guy, who is not the old guy, is now the person of interest. You see how conflicting that is, especially when you consider that before trial, Doug Carter actually did an interview in which he said, I've always said that if you take the two and put them together and a transparency and whoever's in between them and behind them and betwixt them, and that's a killer. But what is it? You know, like, I still wonder, what is it? Is it that they are indeed two individuals? That the old guy was no longer a person of interest? Or is it that no, if you take two and you put them together, the person behind them and betwixt them and between them and throughout them is the killer, and that is Richard Allen? What is it? Since when does an institution like the state police conflict itself? It contradicts itself. You see what I mean? Because Doug Carter's words contradict the printed press release clarifying, quote unquote, the change of direction. But there's not supposed to be any hateful rhetoric out here around this. Okay, next up. They're asking for the October 13th. What a coincidence. Do you think it's a coincidence that October 13th, the 13th, the Richard Allen interview, the Kathy Allen interview transcript, okay? They also want a Matthew Hoffman affidavit. They want Betsy Blair's sketch of the vehicle. They want the photo of the Ford Focus similar to one owned by Richard Allen in 2017. They want the video of Sarah Carbaugh's interview on June 7th, 2017. They want a photo of the interlocking triangles. We know that's sort of like the Norse pagan stuff. They want the Max Baker affidavit. They want the photo of the Facebook post where Sergeant Robinson posted the altar, right? The Odinist altar. Remember that with Jones and Robinson? And remember, they want the screenshot of Sergeant Jones liking Sergeant Robinson's altar post. Then they want Brad Holder's Facebook post of the altar. They want the still shot of Richard Allen taken from a video that Westville produced. They want the Sergeant Jones apparently had a photo, which I didn't know about this, of the interlocking triangles. Okay. They also want the unclassified FOUO report DIN-COO0074. They want the DNR Dan Doolin report, quote, I checked my audio recordings and cannot find one for him. Remember that bullshit story? Okay. Remember that? So Doolin always recorded every interaction, except when it came to Richard Allen, he can't find it. Okay. They want a glossary of names and Teresa Liebert's affidavit. Okay, furthermore, here are your list of depositions they're requesting, which are Jerry Holman, Tony Liggett, Roland Purdy, Tobe Lesenby, Kevin Murphy, Ryan Winters, and undercover trooper deposition. 8/23/2023. Question for you guys in the back. What's up with number G here? Who's your undercover trooper? And what did he have to say on August 23rd, 2023? And anyway, here's some more receipts. You know, this is all, the thing that I do like about this, I think where we need to be really sober-minded, we need to be really sober-minded around this list right here, because these are receipts, okay? These are receipts. These will inform us of things we might not understand yet. So go ahead and download it. This is all on My Case. So if you go to My Case and look up Richard Allen's appeal, you can find all of this right, easily available for download on My Case. But yeah. And like I said, do you not think it's handicapping the appellate team right now? Do you not think it's handicapping the appellate team for them to be 6 months after the notice of appeal filed and 9 months after being assigned that they still don't have all of this? And especially when this is the important shit. You know, don't get it twisted. This is your entire third party, if you really think about it. This is basically your entire third party perpetrator case right here. All right. And right here, it's a good one here. This is the second attachment here is a letter from Baldwin. Okay, you'll see what it is. It says, whoops. It says here, from Baldwin to Carroll County Circuit Court, dated January 20th. Now pay attention. What happened January 20th? Okay, recall what happened January 20th. Please find our envelope containing flash drives of evidence referenced in our motion to correct error that was filed on January 20th. We dropped this in the mail at the Franklin, Indiana post office on January 20th, but because of the federal holiday, it probably will not be sent out until tomorrow. If these are defective, do not work or you need a different format, please don't hesitate to contact us at the phone number listed on this letterhead. So this is a receipt proving that in regards to the motion to correct error on January 20th, Baldwin indeed sent out uh, the 2 flash drives. Again, no excuse. So, for those of you who are on the replay, go back and listen to the prior 45 minutes. Everything we just talked about. Take a second, listen to it. If you're on the live, when this thing is done, go back and listen to the first 45 minutes, okay? Because as I've read through this, a lot of light bulbs went off. Okay, a lot of light bulbs went off. And I know that some of you, when you get to talking in the chat, you might, things might fly by you, okay? Things might slip on by. So I would recommend that you, when the show is over, start it over and listen to the first 45 minutes, because what we just covered was extremely important. I don't want anything to slip by you, because it sounds to me like there are things that we can glean from this list to give us an indication of a certain direction. And also, keeping in mind my conspiracy theory that they did not want to give the gravity to this Frank's memorandum. Therefore, they sealed the exhibits because they did not need the exhibits to give weight to the words of the Frank's memorandum, 136 pages. Because if that had happened, not only would have the little local news as usual cover it, you would have seen this on Fox News, on CNN, on MSNBC, and all over, because this would have been absolutely explosive if you had the documentary evidence to accompany it. So I really do believe that this entire thing was intentional to derail the gravity of the Franks memo. Okay. Now, moving on. Mm, okay, part two. Hey, thank you, Rebecca. Hey, Rebecca, I'm going to give you the free membership at do you have a Substack membership? I'd like to give you the free membership today. You want the membership, Rebecca? I'll send you, just send me an email. I need your email address in order to send it to you. But Rebecca, I think it's, you've been here so long, I want to give you the membership to the Substack. So please let me know your email address if you want it. Thank you, Rebecca. So let me remove this. Thank you so much, Rebecca. Okay. All right. I think we finished up about 10 minutes early, so that was good. Okay, so we got through that. But anyway, let's review what that is. That is your motion to compel um, transmission of exhibits and new due date. So as I mentioned, not only are they asking for all of this to be transmitted, they're also asking, remember, by they, I mean the appellate attorneys, they're also asking for a 30-day extension from the date that they receive this. Okay. So this is going to push back whenever they happen to get it. It's going to push back another 30 days. And let's be clear here. This is still going to be a crunch, because if you look at that list as we just did, do you really think that 30 days is enough time to thoroughly cover all of that? To very thoroughly cover all of that? I mean, they're already operating at a deficit, especially considering they filed the notice of appeal 6 months ago. They've been on this for 9 months. Trial's been over for nearly a year. This is absolutely unacceptable. Okay, so now at this point, even if they do get all of these exhibits or attachments to be able to draft an appropriate brief, now they're going to be running on a 30-day clock, which is 4 weeks. So now they got 4 weeks to produce an entire appellate brief around the Frank's memo and the motion to correct error. Absolutely unacceptable. What's up with my color here? What just happened here? There. All right. So next up, just give me a moment. I'm going to take a little break. All right. Thank you. Thank you very much. So next up, we got to talk about some stuff. Okay. All right. I'll remind everyone who's coming in, please join the chat and say hello to everybody if you're just coming in to view. And if you're on the replay, please leave a comment down below. Also, hit the like button if you don't mind. Don't hurt you to hit the like. Okay, so go hit the like. Remind you of our support pathways that are scrolling here. We got the Buy Me a Coffee, the Cash App. I have a GoFundMe right now that's at the top of the chat. It's pinned. Um, and I have the Substack, which we're about to talk about. Just a moment again. So, yeah, we're going to talk about the Substack momentarily, but so what we're going to cover tonight is that something I really have not discussed yet, but I'm going to discuss it with you now because I've been trying to wake you up to what's going on in this community for a couple years now. And as you know, in the past 2 years, it's been absolutely insane. In the past year, it's been more insane. And in the past 6 months, it's been off the chain, right? It's been absolutely unacceptable. And in the course of me trying to show you the amount of harassment and hate and bullying that goes on in this community, I know that people get fatigued because people don't want to necessarily see what's really going on and who's behind it. And that's understandable. No, I've said before, no one likes drama, right? No one likes drama, but some things are not drama. Okay, some things are actual problems. They're actually dangerous, and they're actually happening and victimizing people, including myself. And it's always funny because when I bring that up, people say, "You're not a victim. There are no victims here. You're not a victim." Well, I beg to differ. Beg to differ. So tonight's show is called Delphi, the Roblox Swatting, and we're moving into it now. And we've been pretty quiet about it, but it's time that I make you aware. So recently, Adrian from In Light and the Dark and myself have been the victims of attempted swattings. Okay. We've been the victims of attempted swattings. Now, luckily for us, because we are in regular communication with our law enforcement, and law enforcement has been documenting the years of harassment, threats, and abuse, our local law enforcements are very well aware of what is happening with both Adrian and I in terms of receiving harassment of all sorts. Okay, whether that's items coming to our houses, whether that's direct threats, whether it's uh, telegraphed or sideways threats, doxing, all that sort of stuff. Um, we've recently been the victims of attempted swatting. Okay, and what we had to do was we had to give it some time for law enforcement to allow it to play out so that they could close their investigation. And now that is closed and we've received the paperwork from it, I'd like to show you what has been going on in the past couple months so that all of you can be very on top of it and aware. And so the way I'm going to do that is that I wrote a Substack article about it, okay, so that you all can see for yourselves here what I'm talking about with receipts. Because as I've mentioned before, and as you know, I always give you the receipts. Okay, because receipts are very important, despite what anyone says. Receipts are important because you cannot take anyone's word in this community. And when I'm telling you anyone, I mean anyone. And that goes for all you viewers out there. You cannot take anyone's word for anything. Okay, you need receipts. Okay. Let me figure out where I want to be here. Let's see. How about this? This is called the Delphi Murders Roblox video, The Swatting Attempt. This is from over at my Substack, and please, everybody, go subscribe to the Substack. It's at readtheprof.substack.com. Okay. But this is called the Delphi Murders Roblox video swatting attempt. Okay. So we're going to go through this. I want you to see some of what has happened in these past months. Okay. And I say Adrian and I are falsely reported for possession of CSAM. Incident report. Recently, Adrian and I were the targets of multiple false and malicious reports accusing us of sharing illegal content, CSAM, a claim that was thoroughly investigated and completely disproven by law enforcement. This kind of harassment, called swatting, is a serious and dangerous attack that wastes crucial police resources and threatens innocent creators like ourselves. We need your help to fight back. Please join us in speaking out against this abuse. If you see suspicious or false reports and statements about content creators, report them to the platform, whether that's YouTube, the NCMEC, or others such as Twitter, Reddit, Facebook, etc. Share this article here at Substack to raise awareness about how dangerous and harmful false reporting can be. Support reasonable, fact-based discussions rather than spreading rumors or misinformation. If you have experienced similar harassment, consider sharing your story with us to help shine a light on this growing problem. Together, we can protect each other, preserve honest dialogue, and ensure law enforcement resources are used for real threats, not targeted harassment. Now, in case you're not familiar with the NCMEC, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, it operates the cyber tip line as a centralized system for the public and internet companies to report suspected online child exploitation. NCMEC's primary role is to serve as a conduit, reviewing, categorizing, and routing these tips to the appropriate Internet Crimes Against Children ICAC task forces for investigation. Filing false cyber tip reports with the Internet Crimes Against Children ICAC task force as part of a harassment campaign is a serious crime. Submitting knowingly false reports or information to law enforcement can lead to criminal charges, including filing a false report, obstruction of justice, and criminal harassment. When done repeatedly or with the intent to harm someone, it may also be considered stalking under state and federal law. These actions not only waste law enforcement resources, but can seriously damage the lives of innocent people, maybe even leading to death. In addition to criminal penalties, the person filing the false reports may also face civil lawsuits for defamation and emotional distress. Law enforcement agencies treat this kind of abuse very seriously and will take legal action to stop it. Now let's familiarize you with the flow of a cyber tip, okay? The flow of a cyber tip. The relationship is a streamlined reporting process that connects tech companies and the public to local and regional law enforcement agencies equipped to handle internet crimes. There are 4 steps. Step 1 is reporting. Suspicious online activity is reported to the cyber tip line. Reports can come from the public via the tip line's website or hotline, or from electronic service providers who are legally mandated to report discovered child sexual abuse material. Step 2 is analysis by the NCMEC. NCMEC analysts review and triage the tips. They perform an initial assessment, prioritize the tips based on severity and urgency, and work to identify the geographical location associated with the reported activity. Distribution to ICAC. NCMEC makes the cyber tips available to the relevant law enforcement agencies. For reports in the United States, this is typically the ICAC task force that has jurisdiction over the incident's location. Number 4, step 4, the final step is that investigation is held by the ICAC. The designated ICAC task force receives the tip from the NCMEC and initiates an investigation. The task force may handle the case themselves, or if the case is more local in nature, forward it to the local affiliate police agency for action. Okay. And here is the cover page for the incident report. I've redacted some information from the following documents, which you'll see this is a cover page for the police report. It was reported 7/31/25 from the ICAC. It is alleged to have occurred at the time of the report. As you see, it's classified here as a pornography offense. Okay. This was likely an attempt at swatting, a dangerous and growing form of harassment where someone makes a false report to law enforcement to trigger an aggressive response, often a SWAT team at the victim's home. While traditional swatting involved fake bomb threats or hostage situations, it's now expanding to include false cyber tips, especially targeting YouTubers, podcasters, and other online creators. These attacks are designed to intimidate, humiliate, and harm the victim, exploiting the seriousness of crimes like child exploitation to provoke a fast, forceful law enforcement reaction. Swatting doesn't just put lives at risk, it wastes police resources and undermines real investigations. As this tactic becomes more common, especially in online spaces, law enforcement is taking it more seriously and pursuing criminal charges against those responsible for the false reporting. This incident is a clear example of targeted swatting through the abuse of the ICAC cyber tip system, a tactic that is becoming increasingly common online. An anonymous individual submitted a false and inflammatory tip to the NCMEC, National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, accusing the creators of YouTube channels In Light in the Dark and The Prof of distributing child sexual abuse material. The tip included extreme and inflammatory claims, such as distributing a video depicting the sexual assault and murder of two minors, and attempted to link the creators, Adrian and Prof, to CSAM distribution by referencing their discussions of the Delphi murders, a real and emotionally charged case involving the deaths of two young girls. After a thorough investigation, including direct review of the video and an in-person interview, Detective Miranda conclusively determined that no CSAM was present and that the video in question was an animated reenactment using Roblox characters, not illegal content. The report was officially closed with no further action taken and no crime found. This kind of false reporting not only weaponizes child protection systems against innocent people, but also diverts law enforcement from genuine threats. It's a dangerous and malicious use of resources that fits the modern definition of swatting, intended to provoke police contact and public harm, and should be treated seriously, both criminally and civilly. Detective M. Miranda investigated the claims thoroughly. She personally reviewed the video referenced in the tip, an animated Roblox reenactment, and conducted an in-person interview with Adrian. She confirmed that the video contained no nudity, no real people, and no illegal content, and determined it did not qualify as CSAM under the law. The animation used game avatars to speculate and create a narrative on the events of the Delphi case, but did not depict actual minors or sexually explicit content. The other channel, The Prof, was also reviewed, and while the specific video in question could not be located among over 300 uploads, no evidence of illegal content or CSAM distribution was found. Both creators were found to be engaging in legal, opinion-based commentary about a public case. The investigation was officially closed on August 20th, 2025. That's just about a month ago, with a clear statement in the police report that no crime was determined. This false report represents a dangerous trend where bad actors exploit the seriousness of child protection systems to intentionally provoke law enforcement responses against innocent individuals, often with the intent to harass, intimidate, or damage reputations, a modern form of digital swatting. These attacks are not only malicious and defamatory, but they also divert critical law enforcement resources away from real victims of exploitation. As these tactics grow more common in the digital space, particularly targeting women, single fathers, and independent creators, law enforcement and platforms must treat such false reporting as serious offenses, both criminally and civilly. Okay, and what I'm going to go through with you here are the narrative and the supplements from the actual report. Okay, and I've redacted pertinent parts here. So I'll read the narrative to you. Internet Crimes Against Children, ICAC Cyber Tip, Detective Miranda. Synopsis. On July 4th, 2025, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children generated a cyber tip after an anonymous member reported a YouTube channel, In Light in the Dark, of posting child sexual abuse material. The owner of the YouTube channel was believed to be Adrian, who resides in the city of Redacted. Narrative. On August 7th, 2025, I reviewed CyberTip number 215-339-356, which was reported by an anonymous user concerning a YouTube account. The reporting person stated the following, and here's a direct quote from the CyberTip. This platform admits to threatening other people for a very suspicious video that has already been tipped in and removed off any devices, etc., out of respect. This user, quote, admits to threatening people in order to obtain it, and she discusses it, shares it on platforms, and provides her personal email for anyone to write her and receive a copy of a violent, disturbing video thought to be created by pedophiles of a violent sexual assault and murder of 2 minors. Okay, then there's some information. And then they have quoted from a post of Adrian, which says, for questions on the Roblox video, please email me. The Roblox video should have been made available to the public a long time ago. The making of the video demonstrates extreme insensitivity, borderline callousness disguised as obvious faux sentimentality. Whoever made this video are more than likely individuals with sadistic qualities, getting off on the suffering of others. It also shows to a degree deliberation. More than likely, several people were needed to make this video, taking time and coordination. If we knew who made the video and when, possibly much earlier than its 2021-2022 release, we might have more clues leading us back to the actual individuals involved in Abby and Libby's murders. Okay, so you see what Adrian's intent was there. There's a continuation of the cyber tip, which says multiple videos on this person's channel under the tabs of videos and live videos that show, quote, a campaign are targeting and harassing individuals, close quotation, for what was publicly shared, a publicly shared link at one point in time, but was graphic and used to tip into law enforcement about the Delphi murders in 2017. This YouTuber and another, the Prof, share it on their channel. Talk about how vulgar it is, yet give out their emails so anyone who emails can get a link. Okay, next, there's another false cyber tip. This one is regarding the Prof. Suspect reported, the Prof. Subject, son is a convicted pedophile. Information, the Prof engages in the sharing of this vulgar, heinous reenactment of child sexual abuse material, depicting the real-life sexual assault and murder of a high-profile crime. Read the comment sections under the videos. She changes them regularly. On the posted videos, she shares her email multiple times to distribute the CSAM material. This concluded the cyber tip report. And Detective Miranda states, I reviewed the associated photographs uploaded to the cyber tip. This was a photograph of a screenshot of a YouTube video posted called Decoding Voorhees, MK, Conditioning, Plant Talk, ICAC 213, and Roblox. The screenshot was of the video in question from the cyber tip report where the user was in light in the dark. The video does not show any available picture or screen. It displayed a blank page. This was a screenshot of the YouTube page for In Light in the Dark. The user has 867 subscribers and uploaded 50 videos. The user had what appeared to be a female subject with dark brown hair on the screenshot of the videos produced or posted. Another one. This was a photograph of a screenshot of the YouTube page The Prof. The user had 5.12 thousand subscribers and uploaded 328 videos. NCMEC provided a potential name for the YouTube profile of In Light in the Dark. The following was provided: Adrian. The information of Adrian, the YouTube creator name, was confirmed after a general search of her name revealed a prior documented police contact with the police department. Remember, I said it's our continuous reporting to our local police departments, which has helped our police departments identify us and understand the targeting. Adrian reported the incident to police, where she was receiving online harassment from an unknown person after posting about the Delphi case. For further clarification, the Delphi case is about a murder concerning two victims, Abigail Williams and Liberty Williams. They meant German. At Monon High Bridge Trail in Delphi. Abby and Libby are mentioned in the video biography section for the reported YouTube channel. At this time, there is not sufficient information to determine a crime being committed. Further follow-up into the YouTube channels mentioned above is necessary. Okay? That was dated August 7th, Thursday, 2025. Okay, supplement. Contact with Adrian by Detective M. Miranda, narrative. On August 19th, 2025 at approximately 9:28 a.m. hours, I made contact with Adrian at her residence. Adrian invited me into her home, and I explained to her that I had received an anonymous tip concerning something she posted on her YouTube channel, In Light in the Dark. I informed her someone had reported her channel about a video which was alleged to have distributed child sexual abuse material. Adrian explained to me she spoke about a murder case she called the Delphi murders. Adrian stated someone made a video, a reenactment of what they believed happened during the crime. Adrian stated the perpetrator kidnapped two female victims at gunpoint and made one of them get naked. Adrian stated the perpetrator also sexually assaulted them and stated the video showed the sexual assault. Adrian stated the video was reposted to her channel, but she cut out the sexual assault portion of it. Adrian showed me the video, which I observed to be Roblox characters, which was an animated video. I observed a character point a gun at two other characters. I observed the characters lead the two other characters into the woods. I observed one of the characters' clothing come off and did not observe any nudity. I observed one of the characters, when they lost their clothing, was pink in color or skin colored to simulate a naked body. However, due to the entire reenactment being animated, the video was not considered child sexual abuse material. I informed Adrian the video was not considered child sexual abuse material and informed her CSAM was the same as child pornography. I explained to her a reenactment of a child sexual abuse was also not considered CSAM unless the people depicted in any photograph or video was under 18 years old or their bodies were medically evaluated to be identified as child sexual characteristics. This concluded my contact with Adrian, which was video recorded and later uploaded into evidence.com. I concluded the report which alleged the video reenactment was CSAM. It should be noted, the second profile in question, the prof, is alleged to be a creator identified as redacted. There is no additional information on identifying the creator of the YouTube channel reported. The YouTube channel, The Prof. The anonymous report stated the prof has posted the video depicting a reenactment of a real-life sexual assault and murder of a high-profile crime. The anonymous report also stated the prof distributed CSAM. The prof YouTube channel also discusses the Delphi murders. I was unable to find the specific video which posted the reenactment of the sexual assault mentioned in the report. The prof had a total of 390 uploaded videos as of August 20th, 2025. However, I was able to find a video where the prof is mentioned or the prof mentioned the Roblox video in question and also mentions the channel in Light in the Dark and Adrian. Both YouTube channels appear to be discussing opinionated statements as well as information regarding the Delphi murders. The Roblox reenactment video in question was not CSAM. Both channels are currently active, as YouTube is known for flagging and deactivating YouTube accounts for any suspected child sexual abuse material. This concluded my review regarding this investigation. There is nothing further to report as no crime was determined. This was August 20th, Wednesday, 2025. Further supplementation. On August 20th, 2025, the investigation into this incident has been completed and revealed no further police action is required. Therefore, this case will be considered closed. The initial investigation reported child sexual abuse material having been distributed amongst YouTube channels in Light in the Dark and the Prof. The video in question was an animated reenactment of a murder crime where it was reported a sexual assault of two victims were reenacted. This video was not considered child sexual abuse material as it is animated. No crime was determined. Cleared and no further action required. Okay, that's your complete narrative and supplement from the incident report. Here's my summary. On July 4th, 2025, an anonymous individual submitted a false cyber tip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, NCMEC, accusing me and another creator, Adrian, of distributing child sexual abuse material, CSAM, through our YouTube channels. This tip falsely claimed that a video shared on Adrian's channel and on my Substack account contained or facilitated the sharing of explicit illegal content related to the Delphi murders. These claims were entirely fabricated. This report triggered an investigation by our local police departments. We fully cooperated. Detective Miranda reviewed all the content in question, including the video that sparked the report. The video is an animated reenactment using Roblox characters and was used to discuss publicly available information about the Delphi murders case. It did not include nudity, real individuals, or any illegal or pornographic material. The officer concluded that, quote, no CSAM was present, that, quote, no crime had been committed, and the case was officially, quote, closed with no further action as of August 20th, 2025. Conclusion. This false report was not just a misunderstanding. It was a calculated attempt to abuse the child protection reporting system to harass and silence us. A tactic well known as swatting. These tactics are growing more and more common against independent creators and journalists, especially those covering high-profile or controversial topics. Not only are they dangerous and traumatizing, but they also waste police resources that should be focused on real threats. It is unacceptable that any individuals involved in the Delphi murders case in any way would intentionally engage in the abuse and waste of precious law enforcement resources, especially when those resources are designed to save and protect innocent children. Again, it's absolutely unacceptable that any individual involved in the Delphi murders case would intentionally engage in the abuse and waste of precious law enforcement resources with a false tip-in to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Those resources are designed to save and protect innocent children, and you wasted those resources. This was a month-long investigation in which you wasted the resources of the tip line, you wasted the resources of the ICAC, and you wasted the resources of the local police departments who had to look into this. This is absolutely unacceptable. It should not be allowed, and it should be criminally prosecuted. This is another in the series of harassment attempts in a long, extended harassment campaign by the same individuals going back 2 to 3 years. And this is my closing. I say to my community, thank you for your ongoing support. I will not be intimidated by false accusations or smear campaigns. I will continue to speak responsibly, factually, and ethically about these important issues, and I will protect myself through the appropriate legal channels whenever necessary. Stay informed and stay safe. Just a moment, I got a cough again. Now, let me do a little, excuse me, let me do a little talk. Here's the bottom line. We know where this is coming from. We have a very good idea where this is coming from. Anyone in the chat want to guess who's responsible for this? Law enforcement knows exactly where this is coming from. This has now been documented. Excuse me. Furthermore, this has been reported to our local police departments. This has been reported to the social media platforms that were involved. This will be reported to the FBI this weekend. We have a plethora of receipts around this issue. You put my life, my child's life, and Adrian's lives at risk. Which was your intention? When you say that we are not the victims in these situations, you are proving that you are the perpetrators of this violence. This was violence. And I want you all out there to think about this. The cyber tip line for the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children and the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force are solely designed for the protection of children. This case is about the victimization of children. So why is it that some ones who portray themselves as advocates for these child victims, in order to target us with harassment and potentially put our lives at risk, why would they waste the resources of the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force, the local law enforcement, the federal law enforcement, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children? I vow now, when you are identified, you will be exposed because you are a cancer. You are lower than the killers. Do you understand that? When I thought I had seen it all, this takes it to a new low. absolutely takes it to a new low. Who in their right mind would send these law enforcement officers on a wild goose chase like this with false accusations just to have Adrian and myself targeted? You should be criminally prosecuted, and you should also be civilly prosecuted for the funds. Think of the hours of law enforcement's time that you wasted. Those cops make like what, 30 an hour, 40 an hour? How many hours do you think went into this? Thousands of dollars. And every moment that this entire chain of command was utilizing and wasting to pursue these false, malicious tips were moments that they could have been pursuing leads to assist actual child victims in need. Because there are child victims in need right now who the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force and the local law enforcement affiliates are having to go and help right now. And hey, how much you want to bet? The same people who released this video are the same ones who reported us. I guarantee you. I guarantee you. They knew we were discussing it. They set the bait. We took the bait, and they tipped us in for CSAM to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. Yet another swatting or attempted swatting. So I figured tonight what I should do is do another do-over. Let's do another do-over. And that's what we'll do now. We're going to have a little do-over. We're going to take another look at my other Substack article concerning this Roblox video. It's called the Delphi Murders Roblox video, published July 1st, 2025. Sadistic secret codes, sick, perverted, potentially revealing guilt knowledge. Okay. These screenshots establish context for the Roblox video and some relevant information about the platform. So let's go through them. We're going to take you back in time. So I'm going to just skip. You can go read this for yourself over on Substack, but I'm going to go skip to the bottom here what I've highlighted, because the highlighted portions are the ones that are worth reading. Okay, this is so weird to see Roblox mentioned here, because I had to report a video I found online, which was an entire Roblox reconstruction animation of the crime scene and the crime from the beginning to end with Roblox characters for Abby and Libby and the murderer. It was so effing awful, I had to report it to get it taken down. Oh, yes, I remember this exactly because of how disgusting it was. It was odd because I remember seeing a very famous Roblox YouTuber early in the comments encouraging the video. It was very horrific, for sure, because the way it was filmed was very snuff film torture porn style and was not in favor of Abby and Libby. It even showed scenes of the girls being raped. What's really creepy to me is someone had to build that whole Roblox bridge map and hired other people to control the other characters. I used to play and build on Roblox when I was a kid, and let me tell you, building maps takes time. The amount of time and effort to make this child murder, sexual assault snuff film is disturbing. I've never played Roblox myself. I'm 40, but I could see the amount of detail, the landscape, and everything looked very accurate. The film even included the murderer walking the trail from the car park and commentary gradually reaching a crescendo of excitement. A full murder movie and done as if it were titillating like creepy wank snuff for psychopaths. I believe the account had an icon that made it look like it was owned by a K-pop teen a loving teen girl. There's no way a young girl made that deplorable shit. Wow, all of it's hitting me now. Yes, it was made to look like a K-pop little girl made it, and all of the replies to negative comments were childlike replies from the creator. It's very disturbing knowing what we know now that Roblox chats might have been involved in the murders. All right, and here's some. I'm going to forward through this. These are some information from Wikipedia about Roblox. And you see here it says Roblox allows players to create their own games using its proprietary engine, Roblox Studio. Okay. Check this out though. Users are able to create purchasable content through one-time purchases known as game passes, as well as microtransactions, which can be purchased more than once, known as developer products or products. The majority of games produced using Roblox Studio are developed by minors, and a total of 20 million games a year are produced using it. Okay. The following series of screenshots lays out the series of events that led to the release of the video. You'll see that on April 10th, 2025, In Light in the Dark made a live stream demanding that those who were secretly holding the Roblox video make it public. And you can see the date here, April 10th. Adrian says, Laura quit acting like a third grader and released a Roblox tape for everyone. Okay. You see on April 15th, 2025, Jamie Hicks made a response to Adrian's initial demand. There's your date. On April 21st, 2025, the Peggy O channel does a live stream entitled Rejection Projection. In the live chat of this stream, a link to the video will be dropped. So here's the video. Rejection Projection, April 21st, 2025. During the April 21st, 2025 Peggy O live stream, Jinx13 begins discussing the Roblox video, mocking those who are asking for it and referring to it as being, quote, on a public access website. Pay attention to all the usernames here, by the way. Mocking. Only 30 minutes into the live, Jinx13 drops a link to the video, which is being hosted on streamable.com anonymously. At that time, I visit the link, which showed that the video had been freshly posted in its original format and quality, which is important, having a total of only 6 views at the time I clicked on it. So let me reiterate that to you so that you understand, because people try to lie here, okay? At the moment this appeared, this link was posted here, I clicked the link. It went right to the video, which only had 6 views, which means it had just been posted. minutes before. Okay? Very important to keep that in mind because they will lie and say it's been there for years. No, it hadn't. How did it achieve only 5 views if it had been there for years? Okay, and here's the receipt. Here's your receipt. There you go. See? That's your oops. Sorry guys. That's your receipt right there. Lord have mercy, I finally found it. Yeah, with only 5 views. Here's the damn public access website mocking, and here's the link. See? And notice the names again. Notice the names here. Let me shrink myself so you can see the names. Notice the names. Look at this insanity with these people. You see? All the same names all the time. Okay, so then the Roblox Delphi Murders live reenactment is re-released, right? Take notice that the video itself is highly produced with editing done post gameplay. That's important for you to realize. I've said it before. Okay. This video is not just a game that's played and someone's recording it. Okay, that's only layer one of the creation of this video. This is it's actually produced. It's a highly produced video. It includes a title screen, a soundtrack, and multiple overlays. There's fonts, transitions, and edits which reveal that it's created in its final form as we see it on an Apple computer. It's iMovie. It's all made in iMovie on an Apple. Okay. It's also noteworthy that this project is labeled by these people as a reenactment. Okay. And look, all of this had to be built. So all of this had to be created. Like everything you're seeing had to be created. I need you to keep that in mind. Think about it. Okay. And my first initial observation was that the signage stated Delphi Historic Trails open dawn to dusk. Okay. And this is supposed to be Kelsey and Abby and Libby in a car. See? Okay. This next screenshot, interesting to note that the script writers mock the fact that the internet is a bad and scary place. That's a quotation from the text on the screen in response to Abigail's parents warning her of the dangers of the internet. So check this out. Check this out right here. So you see Abby says, so Libby says, I don't think they realize, meaning her parents, how embarrassing it is to be in middle school with no phone. That's Liberty. I don't think they realize, your parents realize, how embarrassing it is to be in middle school with no phone. They have Abby say, they said, quote, the internet is a bad and scary place. Now remember, the internet is how these girls end up dead. Okay? Remember, these are the Snapchat murders, right? This is Anthony Shots luring the girls to their deaths. Now we're going to get on to another subject. Because basically, in this article, I'm displaying to you the oddities that I found personally in this video. And I say, here is the first occurrence of the letter X interjected into a word. Here, snap, as in Snapchat, is spelled as SNXAP. Now, realize there, the X is not replacing a letter, but it's interjected. Okay. And I've highlighted it in a little red box. Okay. Oh, you look so good. Post it on redacted stories, my snap, with the X interjected. And I additionally observed, I said, also you'll see the fake Abby Snapchat image overlaid over the initial gameplay. This is strategy. So look at the fake, see what they've done? In this video, like I said, they've taken the original gameplay and they've done overlays. And one of the overlays is the fake Abby Snapchat, the photoshopped Abby on the bridge Snapchat. I'm circling here with the mouse. I don't know if you can see my mouse, but remember the fake Abby Snapchat. It's overlaid here into the video. My snap, snap, see, snap, 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 with the X. And I'll talk more about that later. Okay. Next screen, I said here you'll see what appears to be a username glitch as Madison is briefly displayed as the name for Bridge Guy. So in this moment, Madison appears. Okay. So Bridge Guy suddenly turns to Madison. Okay. So you got Bridge Guy, Madison, Liberty, and Abigail. Who do we know in this case whose name is Madison? I know two. Madison. I know two Madisons. But we got a Madison, which is Bridge Guy, and Liberty and Abigail. That's a glitch. Again, you'll see that Madison appears again as a name for Bridge Guy and what appears to be another glitch. So it glitches again, and you see this moment. Pops up as Madison again. Okay. And remember, all of this had to be constructed. Look at it. All the trees, the density of the trees, the grass, the clothing, the hat he's got on, everything. In this image, Abigail's name is replaced by the username Funsies3424 in what appears to be another username glitch. So suddenly, it glitches again, and you see Funsies3424. Okay. And I say, I've highlighted some creepy dialogue that occurs after the sexual assault scene. So there's a sexual assault scene. And then there's this creepy dialogue which occurs just prior to the murder of Libby. And you'll see the fetishization of this victim. So look at this moment. He says, because I can, I've thought I've lost you, my sweet sugar, and touches her chin. And he says, and she says, please leave me alone. You already got Abby, and cries. And you see she's without clothing here. You see? Without clothing. Furthermore, in the scene where Libby is killed, a chat box glitches and pops up and reveals another username, Leah Michelle, formerly known as Yamiyox. Now look here. Again, Leah Michelle has an X interjected. Leah Michelle with the X interjected. Formerly Yami and then three X's, XXOX. Leah Michelle, formerly Yamiyox. Okay. These are called receipts. In this screenshot, I've highlighted the name Abigail Williams, which has an X interjected again, interjected into Abigail's first name. And then here, you'll note that Tamaguchi has an X now replacing the U. Okay, so now instead of an interjected X, now it's a replaced letter. The U is being replaced. The U in Tamaguchi is being replaced with the X here. But you'll see here it's on the screen. It's done on the screen. The two young girls have been identified as Liberty German and Abigail Williams with the X interjected. Reporters say they were found brutally stabby, but Stabbe and no D. Okay. And you see this reporter is named or labeled Tamaguchi, but with the X over the U and or replacing the U. And you'll notice here, if you really pay attention, not only do you see the overlays, so you see the overlays here, you got the overlaid Abby and overlaid Libby, but you also have a BBC set is reconstructed. This is BBC. Why is it BBC? Okay. Here I find it interesting that the location name is initially redacted. Oh, it glitched. Hold on. And then replaced with Delphi with the X interjected after the E, Dxelphi, with the lowercase d with an X interjected immediately after the first letter. Again, Tamaguchi is labeled as the name of the BBC reporter. Side note, why is BBC used in this video? And you'll see it says truly shocking and sad for the small community of redacted Indiana. And then it's typed in Delphi, but with the X. And Tamaguchi is got the X replacing the U again. And when you thought it couldn't get any worse, it says, note that this closing character is in a room labeled as Blonde Sorority Girl VIP Besties. Okay, Blonde Sorority Girl VIP Besties. I find the 100% real to be another odd addition. Yeah, so it says 100% real. Blonde Sorority Girl VIP Besties. Okay. Just a moment, please. I need to clear my throat, get something to drink. Okay. And I also say to note that this particular character always signs her name as a C, uppercase C. So notice this. You'll notice at the end of the video, she signs her name as C. Okay. Signed as C. Extremely bizarre. After reviewing or viewing a reenactment of a sexual assault and double murder, and while talking about two real young murdered girls, this juvenile female character gleefully takes off her pants and claps her cheeks in a very disrespectful, celebratory, and dancing fashion to end. So, what happens at the end, again, it says goodbye, C. And what she does is she removes her pants and she starts doing this weird dance, celebratory dance, clapping her cheeks. Okay. Okay. Now we're going to get into the aftermath. The aftermath. Let me put myself up here. No, that's not good. Go back. Okay. After searching all the aforementioned usernames, I located a Twitch user, Tamaguchi, an identical match to our video. So here's the Twitch account. Okay. Tamaguchi, Twitch. Twitch.tv / Tamaguchi with the X. After some more searching, I also managed to locate a PayPal user account named Tamaguchi with the handle Tamaguchi with the X. Again, another identical match. So here's the PayPal. See the PayPal account? Tamaguchi at Tamaguchi with the X. Hello, law enforcement. Anyone out there? A note on the letter X, source Leon Seltzer. Because it's been employed in so many fields, from algebra to genetics to aerospace to sex and spirituality, X's abundance meanings have almost everything to do with the context that engages it. X has been recognized as an occult symbol for Satan and the black art of witchcraft or Satanism. Witches cross their fingers to focus their energy and convey their possession of demonic powers. Yet, on the other hand, people cross their fingers to make a wish. X, as it relates not so much to a fond or sentimental attachment, but to something far more lustful or passionate, gives us X rated in the word sex itself. Not only does this usage address the earthier, more animalistic side of our nature, it can also slip into the realm of naughty, illicit, or forbidden, symbolizing explicit or graphic sexual content. We have extreme porn designated as XXX, and XXXX has been increasingly showing up to suggest really bold, intense, intense or outrageous displays of sexual daring do. X is implicated in the taking of a life or death oath, as in cross my heart and hope to die. In Kabbalistic philosophy, a branch of Jewish mysticism, as referring to both life and death. Also, X as can't speak. X as signifying the end of something, an entity whose existence is over, past, dead, gone. Here, perhaps, why we have X as the most nihilistic of letters. And curiously, cartoonists have traditionally employed it to display a character out cold or dead through the drawing of X's over their eyes. I want you to put your thinking caps on out there. Okay. As already alluded to, symbolizing fatality in the well known skull and crossbones emblem. Also, oddly enough, marking a crime scene. Okay, the scene of a crime in a plan or photograph. X marks the spot. In secret societies, X as employed to emphasize their strength, exclusivity, and a certain subversiveness or duplicity about them. Expressed, for example, through the crossed arms, okay, or crossed legs, which can be code for crossed meanings, as in left meaning right, or things being inverted, black for white, yes for no, up for down, etc. In linguistics, X has been called a phonetic chameleon. It's used to replicate sounds such as KS as in wax, GZ as in exhaust, Z as in xenophobia, K as in excite, and KZH as in luxury. And the letter can also hush up, that is, be silent, as in Sioux Falls. A silent X. Wow, talk about diversity. Okay. And then I put a portion of one of my lives in here in discussing this. Um, and there's more, okay, but I don't need this for the more. Let's do this. Let's take this off. All right, there's a little more. And I like to thank Dr. Corbo down in the chat. He helped me with this today. I looked at a few things. Let's see. Um, he says, sorry about that. The X sign, as used in Thelema and Crowley inspired works, is called the sign of Osiris. Okay. X in runes is a sign of Gifu, meaning a gift, exchange, or partnership. The X rune in Elder Futark is symbolic of the letter G. X is in Roman numeral is a 10th tarot card, the Wheel of Fortune. X also as in crossbones, as we just discussed. Um, X can also be The number 10, okay? A wolf. X can be the Greek letter chi, the 22nd Greek letter, the chi rho, as in the chi rho, and etc. Um, X, oddly enough, as in Xmas, is also used at times to abbreviate the name of Christ, chi, Christ. Um, Here's what AI has to say about the letter X in regard to the cult known as the Order of Nine Angles, which has influenced numerous other online groups such as 764 cult. In the esoteric and neo-Nazi philosophy of the Order of Angles, O9A, the letter X has several interrelated and deliberate meanings, primarily denoting a crossroads, an unknown, a transgressive path. Order of Nine Angles' intentional use of confusing contradictory symbols is meant to be a test to select and mislead followers, requiring them to go deeper into labyrinthios or labyrinthos mythologicus to uncover meanings. Specific meanings of X within the Order of Nine Angles are the crossroads, the X symbolizing a spiritual and practical crossroads, representing a significant place of decision for the initiate. Okay. The unknown, echoing the letter's use in mathematics and science. X signifies the mysterious, the unknown, the intangible. Okay. The nexus or gathering place. The X marks a nexus, which is a term for the clandestine cells of individuals and groups who operate under O9A's umbrella. A nexus serves as a point of contact where the O9A followers network and undertake transgressive actions to accelerate societal breakdown. Transgression, the meaning of X is also tied to the concept of transgressive deeds, known as exeatic in O9A terminology. The term comes from the ancient Greek word to go far beyond or transgress, and these acts are crucial to the O9A's philosophy. By committing illegal, immoral, and subversive actions, adherents are believed to break free of mundane societal norms. Okay, can also be similar to the whole Charles Manson X, which was there before the swastika, where he crossed himself out of our world. Okay, now honestly, as I've thought about this, it seems to me that all of these meanings are almost one and the same. If you've considered in the past 10 minutes all of these flavors of X that I've delineated, I really do tend to feel that it's more of it's a metaphor, okay, and particularly I believe that it's a hex. Okay, so as I've thought about it, I'm more prone to view it as a hex, okay, or cursing. Um, but let me read for you this here really quickly. It says hex usually refers to a curse or supposed real, potentially supernaturally realized malicious wish. Okay. Um, so I really don't want to go too much further with speculating on its use in this Roblox video in particular tonight, but I think you get where I'm going with it. And the funny thing here is there's a whole other level that I'd like to discuss at a future point when it comes to the Delphi murders social media community. Okay? I think the further and the deeper that we get into the study of these murders here with Delphi, Symbolism predominates. Okay. Um, I believe that aside from 213, which we're very familiar with, 213 and 214, 312, um, I think we're also finding an abundance of symbology, including the X, okay, or the hex. Um, and as you may recall, Dr. Perlmutter has repeatedly emphasized that every aspect of this crime scene amplifies a ritualistic element. For instance, the uh, the location being in a clearing, a circle clearing in the woods, next to water or flowing stream called Deer Creek. Um, the various sigils on the bodies made with sticks, which we have called runes inaccurately. Uh, they're runic like formations that I believe are more so hexes and sigils. The marking in the victim's blood on the tree. Um, there are other marks that are not really widely known on the girls' bodies that we're not going to be discussing here until the appropriate time comes. But there are other symbols. You know about the potential of the antlers or horns on Abby to indicate that she's a wild woman. Okay. We also know that in the entire Delphi community, there's so many creators with symbolic usernames. Okay. And we're not going to go through those names tonight, but many witchcraft aligned and occult aligned usernames. Some of those even incorporating other symbols. So as you look further and further and further into this, you keep seeing the same thing over and over and over again, which is what we are seeing now. It becomes fractal in nature. And what are fractals? Are holographic to an extent. You know, each element of a fractal is self similar, it's similar, it's derivative. Holographic nature, each element contains the whole. So whether you look at it from one angle or the other, I think that the combination is that you have numerology that is continuously expressed, you have symbology that is continuously expressed, you have the positioning of the bodies which match aspects of the tarot deck symbolically expressed. Like I said, you have the time, the date, the stars. Everything about this is absolutely impeccably symbolic. And when you're seeing this so repeatedly, okay, when you're seeing this like in every direction you look into this crime, you're seeing the same metaphors or the same symbols express themselves. Whether you're looking at the crime scene, whether you're looking at the social media commentators, whether you're looking at the victims' bodies staging, the date, the time, the place, the locality of Delphi itself, uh, and considering what Delphi means, and then the victims' names. Abigail Williams, the most hated in witchcraft, or Liberty German, which we know we're dealing with the locality that is extremely dense in German lineage. So this has become so fractal or holographic that is at this point undeniable. And uh and I guess I'll leave it at that tonight. Okay. But I guess before I get out of here, I'd like to say that it's very difficult when you have sources. Okay. Because sources, as you know, I'm a person who is so obsessive about receipts and providing the receipts that often I don't want to discuss things or say things for which I don't have a receipt because I have a source. Because there are certain things which I am not. allowed to have receipts for, but I do have sources for. And those sources are at the absolute upper echelon, absolute bullseye center of this case. So when I'm telling you I have a source, and what I'm going to say to you is from a source, I'm not talking about, you know, you know, some Joe Blow around the corner who has an opinion on Delphi. I'm talking about an actual primary source. And I have several of those. But I can tell you, I guarantee you, and this is where it gets uncomfortable, there is at least one other murder in the area since Richard Allen's arrest that has eerie similarities to the Abby and Libby crime scene. Now, I want you to meditate upon that for a minute. Because if there's another crime scene or two or three that have identical signatures to those left at the crime scene of Abby and Libby, you have to ask yourself, do you have the right man? Do we have people still out there? Possibly the same people are affiliated? Because if we have similar crimes happening, it means that there may be more to come. And how many more have to happen until something is done about all of this? It's my opinion, based upon this information and other, that you clearly have the wrong man in jail or prison. Because if he's in Westville and similar crimes are being perpetrated, similar signatures being left, there's a problem here. Now, I ask you to reflect back about the first half of the show. Think about the years of harassment. And why the targets? Why Adrian? Why me? Over, over, and over again. Are we dealing with Wiccans, witches, Satanists, followers of Crowley, Norse paganists? What are we dealing with? When I've said this is a cover up of epic proportions, I'm not saying that lightly. We're clearly dealing with people who have a belief system, who put on the mask of normality on YouTube, in Facebook, and on Reddit, and Twitter. They know each other. And they know what's done in the dark, but we don't. So, is it any surprise that we're constantly targeted and harassed? So, as I've implored you so many times before, please, please, it's time to step up, y'all. Like, don't take nobody's shit. Okay? Don't take nobody's shit. It's time to start observing what you're seeing. Okay? You're seeing it. Let's be clear here. You are seeing it with your eyeballs. You're just not seeing it with your mind's eye. So it's time to start seeing it. This is not entertainment. This is not a normal murder trial or normal case or some normal victims. This is not normal drama on the YouTubes. It wasn't normal that the judge tried to select these very symbols as she exercised discretion with dates and times. This is entirely abnormal. And so when you're looking at what's going on with everyone involved in the case, you have to first go at it skeptically and say, I know this is abnormal. I know that my eyes can see it. Now, let me see if my mind can comprehend it. And where your intent is, there you'll go. So, anyhow, I am very well aware that a bunch of stuff just dropped on us like a brick on the head. Okay. So you can expect to be hearing from me in the next couple days about my thoughts on that stuff. But for now, I think I'll leave it at that. I'm so glad to see everyone tonight. Hey, uh, please do hit the like, leave a comment. Like I said, go back and listen to the first 45 minutes again. Okay. Or at least go look at the document for yourself and read everything on that document. You know, this document here is the one I'm talking about. Let me see. Where's my mouse? This document here, the list. Again, it's on my case. Okay. This list here, go read it and meditate on it, or just watch the first 45 minutes again. Hey, thank you, Dieter. Dieter, we wish you well. I know Dieter's not feeling too well. I don't see how to put that on the screen. Let's see. Can't stay but thinking about your prof. Yeah, everyone wish Dieter well. I know she needs it. Okay. She's trying to get better. Okay. Thank you so much, Dieter. And also, oh, hey, OLED Cat. Hey, thank you, OLED Cat. Also, ACV. Thank you, ACV. Rebecca Ann, Becky, B33, OLED Cat. Thank you very, very much. Um, but yeah, guys. So again, I got my little GoFundMe that's tagged at the top of the chat. Please support your prof, your boy over here, so I can keep going because I'm telling you, you don't realize like when we're getting contact with police over CSAM, false reporting, malicious reports, uh, there's not enough pay in the world to do this job. I'm telling you. But please do support the channel over at GoFundMe or over on the Buy Me a Coffee, Cash App, Profs Crew, whatever it is. Truly do appreciate you all. Um, and I look forward to getting into these new things and to discuss some of it. Um, but gosh, it's hard. It's really hard, you guys, because there's so much that you see. It's hard to pace the way that we talk and address things because some things I could say right now, it would rain down months of harassment. And so, like it is with the prof, it's a constant state of pacing so that I can gradually say the things I want to say. Because if I say it all at once, it's just going to be harassment central for the next 3 to 6 months. And I try to keep it to a minimum. But my admonition to you is open your minds, step back, try to see the bigger picture, try to understand that there is harassment, there is narrative control, there is PR, there is spin, there are bad actors, and that you might not see them even though your eyes see them, your mind not might not wrap around because there are things. Now, hopefully, I guess if I were to be optimistic, I would say if the appellate team does a good job, a thorough job, perceptively look at all of this, there's no other way that things could go than they be successful because clearly things didn't go right this first go round or this go round, right? So let's be patient and like I said, when it comes to other people around you, it's time to call out the dumb shit and it's time to stop the abuse. You know very well that the people who filed these false reports on Adrian and I, you know that they're on YouTube. They have YouTube channels. They're all up in the grits, and you probably go watch them often. It's time to stop it. It's time to put the brakes on this shit because these people have caused this. Listen, when I say they are chaos agents, I literally mean it. They have been causing this since 2017. Since 2017. That's why you have a culture of fear surrounding the Delphi murders. That's why, like when I did my last show and Christina came on, I put the link up. No one ever clicks the damn link because of the culture of fear. Everyone's afraid to show themselves, express themselves, speak for themselves. It's time to dismantle this culture of fear. All right. So please go watch the beginner's show again and refresh yourself on what was important at the beginning. And hey, other than that, I just want to say God bless each and every one of you. Each and every one of you. Except the trolls, which we got a couple in the chat, but we'll take a break until next time and hopefully next time I'll be talking about all the new shit that dropped and who knows, we might find a needle in a haystack, probably not. Remember my hypothesis here that the discovery was sanitized before it ever made its way into Baldwin's hands, right? So ain't gonna be shit in discovery. Ain't gonna be shit in the exhibits. Ain't gonna be shit in the evidence. Ain't gonna be shit. Okay. Anyway, you know how I'm gonna end this. Hide your kids, hide your wife. They raping everybody out there. And see you guys later. All right. Thanks so much for the live chat. Appreciate everyone in there. I truly do. You make the world go round. Don't give up on those girls or Rick Allen. All right. God bless.
Well, obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here. Well, obviously, we have a rapist in Lincoln Park. He's climbing in your windows. He's snatching your people up, trying to rape them. So y'all need to hide your kids, hide your wife, and hide your husband because they raping everybody out here.
legally blind.